what a lot of people in the DFW community that I'm hearing from are telling me that the interest rates are too high, but we went from very low interest rates and bidding wars to where people were paying tens of thousands of dollars more than the actual value of the home to now the homes are priced a little bit less, so they will move, and you can always refinance.
Absolutely.
So, but people are in a state of fear. They don't understand that even when the interest rates were in the sevens, it was still
Historically not
bad.
All right. Well, we are here for episode 2 of Mortgages and More with Bryan. I have got my good partner and longtime friend, Sarah Kelldorf, with eXp Realty here in the studio with us today. And Sarah, thanks for coming. I know you actually came quite a ways to get here.
Thank you for inviting me.
My pleasure. I love it, and I love what we're going to find out about you today and find out about your visions and what you see happening. So tell us a little bit about your family.
Well, I have 2 grown daughters, one of which is married, and she has 2 children who are the love of my life.
How old are the babies?
A little girl named Hudson, who's almost 5, and a little boy named Ryder, who's 2.
Awesome. Oh, he's not getting anything, is he?
Oh, no, he's not getting anything.
That's awesome. And how long have you been married?
I have been married for 43 years.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
I got 35, so I got a little ways to catch up.
But I'm older than you, so.
Not a lot. Awesome. So how long have you been in real estate?
I started at the tail end of 2002, so quite a while.
22 years. Yep. So you were right there in the .com bubble coming down the pipe, and you were post 9/11. So I mean, there's a lot of turmoil in the markets whenever you started.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So have you always been an independent real estate agent, or have you worked for?
I have worked for multiple companies. I've worked for Keller Williams. I've worked for Remax. I had my own brokerage for, just a little bit and decided that that wasn't really where I wanted to be.
Mm-hmm.
And so I've since joined eXp, and I've been there about 5 years now.
Now, you still have your broker's license, though, right?
I still have my broker's license.
So, I mean, you know where it all needs to go and what's coming down. So
I do.
Yep. Awesome.
I do.
Awesome. So you were in the dental hygiene business before. What about the real estate about the real estate market gave you the passion to step away from something you were so highly trained to do?
Well, I loved my patients, and I loved feeling like I was doing something to help them. And it's kind of an instant gratification when you can see the things you've done to help somebody. And I kind of felt like it would be like that in real estate. And I am not very good at managing people, but I'm good at educating people. So what I wanted to do with my clients is educate them enough to where they can make their own choices and not feel like they're pushed into anything, but they're happy with their choices.
Very cool.
And so far, I've been relatively successful with that.
You had a client recently that I was fortunate enough to be able to serve, and I know she has several different moving parts to her picture, and you were able to bring a lot of stress relief to her with your options for the Allen house that she had to work on, because it took a lot of stress out of her life to not have to worry about that. I mean, you got that fixed up right quick and in a hurry. Like within 2 or 3 days, you had a buyer for it.
Well, her house was in the position of it hadn't been updated in years and years, and it was in an older section of Allen, and I knew that if I could get the right investor to pay the right amount, that would relieve her stress of having to put it on the market and do the showings and put her dogs, somewhere while the showings were going on. And I presented both options of either putting it on the MLS or going straight with an investor. And she took my advice and went with an investor, and she's been extremely pleased.
Very cool.
And, I've got a new investor friend who's a pretty cool guy.
Awesome. Well, maybe he can turn some stuff around for you as well. That'd be awesome.
That would be awesome.
Quid pro quo. So awesome. So you just bought a new house.
I did.
Very cool. So
I did.
Your situation is actually not what we've been seeing a lot of over the last several years, because you're going from an acreage, semi-rural township and home community to you're still kind of in a semi-rural town, but you bought a new house in a very nice, beautiful community. what was your driving passion on that?
Well, we have almost 6 acres in Lucas, and we felt like since we had some property in East Texas that was on the lake and it was 13 acres, then we thought, we don't need as much acreage, and so we're gonna downsize
Okay,
with the house, quote, unquote, "in town." And my daughter with the grandkids lives 10 minutes away
that's
from
cool.
the new house, and I picked Van Alstyne because the pricing was right for the product.
Hmm.
We bought a beautiful Highland home, had it built from the ground up,
That was fun.
and
I've done that with Highlands.
it wasn't bad. It really wasn't bad. It was a very good experience, and now we're in a master plan community, and it's got, a nice pool, and it's got 5 playgrounds so far.
For the
It's gonna get
grandbabies.
bigger, and that way my grandbabies can come play with their Gigi anytime they want.
That's awesome. That's a very strong driving factor, I can see.
Very strong driving factor for me.
Awesome. Very cool. So, want to talk about the mortgage industry from the real estate side view for a couple minutes. Um, right now, we're seeing more houses come on the market than are moving off the market, even though we're still in a very, I would say we're just over 4 months in inventory, and they're saying that a normal market would be a little over 6 months, between 6 and 7 months worth of inventory. But the homes aren't quite moving as fast as we might be expecting them. We're seeing 41% of the listings in August had some sort of price reduction. What are you seeing or what are you hearing from your clients, past clients, industry peeps on why maybe clients aren't moving as fast, aren't looking to buy right now as much as they maybe should be?
It all boils down to the interest rate.
Hmm.
And what a lot of people in the DFW community that I'm hearing from are telling me that the interest rates are too high, but we went from very low interest rates and bidding wars to where people were paying tens of thousands of dollars more than the actual value of the home, to now, the homes are priced a little bit less, so they will move. And, you can always refinance.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, but people are in a state of fear. They don't understand that even when the interest rates were in the sevens, it was still
Historically, not bad.
historically not bad. But we've got a lot of people that have never experienced the higher interest rates.
Yeah.
When my brother-in-law bought his first house, it was 21%. So, and he still bought a house.
Yeah. Well, and my dad's a veteran, has VA eligibility, which those are the best rates you can get your hands on most of the time. And when they bought their house in 1986 in Garland, it was 13.8%. And I remember whenever they refinanced and went down to 9, like in the early 90s, I mean, they saved so much money that they actually bought a pool, had a pool put in, and they still weren't paying as much as they were for the house before they had the pool and before they refinanced. So I mean, he dropped it like 4.5% in interest, and that was only on like an $86,000 house, So it changed a lot, and they do change a lot. A fun fact I want to throw out there, and I don't think you and I have discussed this, but right now rates are at their lowest point than they have been since May of 2022.
Mhm.
That we are seeing, and we're locking rates, and in many situations, not all situations, we're underneath 6% on a 30-year fixed, and we're in the low fives on 15-year fixed. But October of last year, so right at a year ago, rates hit their peak,
Mhm.
and we were locking loans and closing loans at 8.25, sometimes 8.5, and we're down over 2%, obviously, maybe even 2.5% for some clients from where they were right at a year ago now. And we were actually closing more deals in the end of 2023 than we're seeing right now. The market was still like, people understood, I'm just going to refinance. I'm just going to refinance, but I'm going to go ahead and get my house because I can, do a little bit of shopping. But I'm helping a client right now, in Hurst, $325,000 house. He had started looking last August, and at the time that we were working with him and he got serious, the rates had bumped up into the eights, and he's got good credit. Um, and he just decided to take a pause, which that's his call, right? They've got to be comfortable with that. And we're working with that same exact client right now in that same exact price range right now. and the difference in rates have improved his buying power or improved his budget by $434 a month on the same
Wow.
price house. So it's important that that potential home buyers out there realize how much buying power they have now, as opposed to they did a year and a half ago when we still had, people were buying pretty heavily in the year 2023. So now's still a good time. You can get the sellers to maybe negotiate with you a little bit and get some closing cost assistance. And I've got a client right now in Georgetown in North Austin. And he was able to get the seller to give him $9,000 that he's putting towards a 3-2-1 buy down. So for the first year, he's going to have 2.99. Second year, 3.99. Third year, he's going to have 4.99. And then maybe somewhere in the fourth year, rates may have come down enough to where we could refinance him and get him locked into that rate long term. But I mean, that's the kind of cool stuff that you get. It's saving him over $1,000 a month in year one from being at 5.99, and the seller's funding it. So those are the types of things, man, our clients need to know that. Our potential clients, our past clients that are, had thought about moving but then held off because they have a really good interest rate. We may not see 30-year fixed rates in the twos again, right? But I've seen them in 4 different times in my lifetime. They've gotten into the threes, right?
Mm-hmm.
So staying in the fours is not abnormal, but I also have seen them in the fives, and that's not unreasonable either. The rate I have on my house right now is 5.125%, and I bought the end of February of last year. So, bottom line, like I'm not going to let the rates keep me from making a move. That's the 10th house Cindy and I have bought in our 35 years of marriage, and I've refinanced every loan we've had except for the one I've got right now because rates just have been higher than that since we bought the house. So, are you hearing anything about presidential elections? I'm going to wait till after the election. I just want to wait to buy a house, see what happens after the election. Have you heard that?
I've had 3 different cash buyers say that
Really?
to me.
Even
Yes.
cash buyers, interest rates don't matter to them.
Doesn't matter. I think they're just worried about the state of the economy, depending on who wins the election.
Yeah. Well, let me throw something out there to you that it was actually published by Redfin. There have been 9 presidential elections since 1992. Only one of those elections, which was the year 2009, or Great Recession, right?
Mm-hmm.
Only one of those years did home values go down the year after the presidential election. And each of those other elections, the home values went up the next year. I've got another stat for you too. Since 1942, okay, so we're talking 82 years, 77 years across the nation, and North Texas is stronger than most of the nation.
Mm-hmm.
77 of those years have been home value improving years. Only 7 have been negative. Did I do that right? Yeah, 74. No, okay, 77. So it's 74 years have been home improvement value, and only 7 have been negative, and only 1 year was flat. So you're talking about 82 years. That's a 91% winning ratio. So
it's hard to beat that.
It is, and it also should tell those folks that are holding on to see what's going to happen after the election, you're actually losing ground. Like, home values are not expected to drop. Like I said, we were talking about earlier, there's a shortage of homes on the market for the buyers that are actually out there and able to be able to purchase. And as these rates come down, every 1% an interest rate reduction improves a buyer's ability to afford the house by 13%. So they can afford 13% more house, or their borrowing costs drops by 13%. So as these rates come down, we do think it's going to get pretty tight, don't you?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. As these rates start coming down, more people are going to be coming out to buy houses, and then you might even get into another bidding war.
Mm-hmm. Well, I've worked an open house over in in Keller about a month ago, and the house was put on the market on Wednesday. The open house was on Saturday. We're going to be doing Saturday and Sunday, and by the end of the open house on Saturday at 4 p.m. on Saturday, we had 4 offers come in on this house in Keller, and very nice house. I mean, it was deserved to have the attention. Good backyard, had a good shed that you could put a riding lawnmower in, a big tree in the front yard, smaller trees in the back. But then I also, this last weekend, I worked an open house on Saturday and Sunday in North Fort Worth, and the traffic coming through there was just amazing. We had like 13 families a day. It was just
Wow.
coming through. We had multiple offers before the end of business on Sunday. Um, and so if it's priced right, if
That's the
it's
key.
you're going to have a hard time not paying top dollar. But bottom line is you got to get out there and do it before the home values go up a lot more than what they're at right now. So that's kind of what our thinking is. Um, um, so have you ever had a client talk about needing to wait until they save more money to put down?
Yes, and I think that there are enough, you know, buyer's assistants
Mhm.
out there that that shouldn't even be a worry. The first thing I tell everybody, number 1, when I work with a client that's a buyer, is first thing you need to do is you need to look at your finances and call your favorite mortgage lender, which of course is you, and get them to help you work on a plan.
Right.
And if you're not ready to work right now, going to buy a house, then the best mortgage lenders, as you've done for me in the past, have helped get that buyer ready for where they need to be. Get their credit ready,
Hmm.
get enough of a down payment ready, and talk you through all those priorities that you need to have when you're buying a house.
Exactly. So I've got a client right now that was referred to me by a builder friend of mine, and this is part of the conversation that leads into what you just said on how we help. Um, this gentleman, they sold their house in Louisville, netted about $165,000. They'd only owned the house. They put down minimum down. They had only owned the house for 3.5 years, and they literally netted 100. I think it was 157. They're expected to be 165, but anyway, it's 157. So um, they're building a house that'll be ready in November, so about a month from now. And so he reached out to me last week and said, "Hey, let's start taking a look at things, and I want to know where the rates are sitting." And you may know this, but one of the most important things when it comes to a rate offering, a rate picture for a client, is credit score, and
Absolutely.
it's the lowest middle score of all the buyers on the loan. So um, a couple years ago, I helped two couples buy a lake house. So there's four of them on that loan, and we had to use the lowest middle score of all four borrowers. They had great credit, wasn't a problem. So, but this client right now, boom, he qualifies, easy peasy. He has a 739 credit score, and that's 1 point away from going into the next tier for getting better rates.
Mhm.
It improved his rate just by me showing him how to pay down a couple of credit cards. It improved his rate offering by 3/8 of a point. Just and he had the money on hand. He just like they don't have a problem, making the payments. They're not maxed out. One of them was barely over 50%. One of them was over 30%. Another one was over 30%. So all I had him do is cross those next barriers to get him below 50%. He actually went below 30% on all of them. He paid the bigger one down to get it below 30% of the credit utilization, and boom, score went to 749.
And that's gonna save him a ton of money.
It yeah, that 3/8 of a point in rate, and he was like, "I would have never known that." And he goes, "I've done two other deals with you. This will be my third deal with him." He goes, "I've done two other deals with you, and I didn't know that my credit score came into factoring into the interest rate." So the truth is, I don't know why he had a 739 because he hadn't had any late payments on anything. He only has three credit cards. They have one car payment. The house loan just got paid off in August. So I don't know why he had a 739, but we were able to help save him a decent amount of money. And that's the kind of consultation that we do. We just don't say, "Hey, yeah, you're approved." We look for ways to optimize the picture for our clients, which can help save them. Again, maybe help them buy more house, or if the house costs the right amount of money anyway, it just saves them money on a monthly basis.
That's why it's important that you have the right agent and the right mortgage lender working with you to
Yep,
help you figure all that out.
absolutely. So that getting that first step is the most important. I have a young couple right now. He's actually the son of one of my realtor partners over in South Lake, um, and he just took his CPA exam Monday, not this past Monday, but the Monday before. It takes like a month to 5 weeks to get your grading back on a CPA exam.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. So anyway, he was kind of balking. I was talking to him this morning, like, yeah, I don't know if we're going to get in the market, and I probably need to save a little more money. And I said, well, how much do you have saved? Because I haven't got a loan application with him yet. We're just in the consultation. He goes, well, we got 25,000. I'm like, you've got $25,000 not in retirement accounts, not in invested stock accounts that you've been saving to buy a house. So why are you waiting? So I ran the numbers for him, and I sent him a closing cost estimate. He doesn't even need $19,000 of it to buy the price of the house that he's wanting, and he's a first-time home buyer, so we can do a conventional 3% down loan. I mean, he was like, I thought it was going to be a lot harder than that. I said, no, it's not.
Everybody thinks that you have to have 20% down, and that's such a fallacy.
I actually was at a meeting with real estate agents at a title company middle last month, and this agent was newer to the industry, but she thought so too. So she was talking about how having to sell one of her investment properties to help her kids, both of her kids, buy houses, and she was going to, talking to me about that, and so she said, so how much would it cost to buy a $450,000 house? And I did the calculations for her, and she's like, oh, I don't even have to sell my investment property to help them with that. So there's a misconnotation or misunderstanding that it takes a lot of money to get into a house, and it really doesn't. For qualified borrowers, we have down payment assistance programs that you mentioned earlier that we can actually get them in with zero down payment and minimal closing costs in some cases because sellers are helping out. So, I mean, maybe just earnest money and appraisal and getting an inspection. So just a few $1,000s could very possibly help someone get into a house.
That's so amazing.
Yep, they need to know that. Do you have any questions for me today? Anything you'd like for me to talk about?
Well, I think you've answered pretty much anything that my buyers would want to know.
Okay, cool. So, for folks that don't know, and I live in McKinney and I don't know, tell me about that little the distillery you were talking about, the cute little place.
Oh my goodness. There is a really cute little distillery. They don't actually distill it there, but they have different shops open where they serve food. They have events. They serve, their own vodka, their own bourbon, their own scotch. It's called Lockwood Distillery.
Okay.
And there's one that I've been going to that's in downtown McKinney, right on the square.
How have I not heard about something like that?
There's one in Fort Worth, there's one in Richardson, but they're pretty cool.
Awesome. Well, thank you for that insight. So if anybody's in the Collin County area and they want to have a good afternoon out, you said it's got an open air section as well. That's your.
They don't have an open air section yet.
Okay.
But not at the McKinney location, but it's easy to park, and easy to get into, and they've got great drinks.
Well, there you go. Well, thanks, Sarah. I appreciate you coming down, spend some time with us, and dropping some real estate knowledge on us and getting to know you a little bit better.
Invite.
Yes, ma'am. So if you have any questions or just shoot us a DM or hit us up and subscribe to the channel, and just look forward to seeing you on the next episode.
Thanks, Bryan.
Thank you, Sarah.
Thank you.